Right guys, before we start this week's video, a serious note. Yeah, Rudgy being serious. Dr. Michael Mosley, you've probably seen him on the news by now. Tragically, got caught out by the looks of it by the heat. So yeah, I'd just like to say a few words about that. Firstly, we're in June at the moment when I'm filming this, and it is unusually quite hot. I mean, it's usually warm here at this time of year, but we're in the high 30s, which is quite unusual for June. Next month, July, we could hit the 40s, which isn't unusual, and it will be that way right the way through till the end of August, really. Quite uncomfortable trying to sleep at night unless you've got the aircon on. But on a serious note, as you will see on the back of the Black Pearl, I have a bag, a cool bag. So what I normally do is I'd normally put 2 small bottles of water in there and a large one that's frozen, and that keeps the 2 smaller bottles cold. So I've always got water on me. And of course, being a YouTuber, I've always got 2 phones on me, which is what I film from, which are fully charged. Now, the Hobbit pointed out that she likes walking. You need to wear some sort of head protection, some sort of hat in a light colour, light clothing, not like what I've got on, but then I'm on the bike. So light clothing. Try not to go out in the midday sun. You won't see any Greeks out in the middle of the day, and that's why most of the shops are shut till 6 o'clock. Had you thought about that? So there's a few pointers. The Hobbit pointed out that she might start taking a little power pack with her, which is a great idea, so that if your phone goes flat, you can still power it up and call some emergency services. So there you go. Just be careful, guys. We all love you coming. As you can see, beautiful place to be. This is Lordas at the moment. Sea's a little bit cold because it is only June. But yeah, we're not really designed to be out in 40 degrees of heat, especially if you're walking and exerting yourself. So bear that in mind. Always wear a hat of some kind, light clothing, take some bottled water with you, and always make sure your phone's charged or you've got a power pack with you to reboot it. That's all I'm going to say on that subject. Let's get on with the video. Uh, yeah, well, German registered Porsche Carrera S. That's very nice, isn't it? You wouldn't mind that in your Christmas stocking, would you? I know somebody who'd like that. It's Friday. Welcome back to the channel, Reggie aka the Doctor. If you've just joined us, hit the like, share and subscribe. Sit back and enjoy the ride. We're well over 1,000 now. So every one of you that subscribes or shares or likes the channel helps me enormously. For those of you who visited the Coffee and PayPal this week, thank you ever so much for doing that. Massive, massive help to me in making these videos because everything's quite expensive these days. Anyway, where are we? At the fabulous viewing platform just above the famous Myrtos beach. So I might go down there in a bit. As you can see, there's a few yachts in. That one's a bit closer to the rocks than I think he knows he is. I wonder if he's got a depth finder. Yeah, I think I'd rather be over there. But anyway, yeah, I mean, well, I ain't going to go into it. Everybody's got their own way of doing things, but I think I'd rather be on the sand in this this current weather, because you could get your anchor stuck in between rocks, well, your chain anyway, all sorts of problems. But anyway, each to their own. So yeah, we're going down there. Now, I've been asked a few questions, so I might try and answer them. Somebody messaged me the other week saying they were thinking of retiring down here, and we're the locals, still as friendly as when you're on holiday. Well, I can confirm that the majority of them, yeah, they don't change. There are what I call the Shirley Valentine Greeks, you know, the ones that come out with the same old script to every single person they meet. But I've been coming here 30 years. I've made some pretty strong bonds with quite a few families. one in particular that you'll see featured on a upcoming video. They've got a place that makes olive oil, and have asked me to go and video that, which I will. And then there's my neighbours, Steve, Makis, Eva, all those people in Caravados that are Greek. I get on with fantastically. I quite often come home to a bag of tomatoes and cucumbers hung on the gate because Makis has been picking them and thought, oh, Davey might like some of these. He's got probably too many of them growing or whatever. The same with the eggs. If he gets too many eggs, I get some of those. Steve quite often pops over and we share stuff between us. He likes cheddar cheese, so if I get some of that, he has that, and he quite often gives me stuff that he's got. So, you know, yes, I can confirm that the locals are as friendly as they are when you first meet them. It's like anywhere else, really, in that respect, except that it's a lot more chilled in this country. Cigar is the main word of the day. Unless you've got the bucket and the hobbit in the car, then it's buru buru. Anyway, yeah, that's one thing. Then there was the question of, can you live comfortably on a UK pension out here? Well, if you're getting a full pension and you use the exchange rates correctly, then yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Although I've never had a lot of money coming in, so I do tend to use my tea bags twice, things like that. So if you don't want to scrimp and scrape, I'd say it'd be difficult. Of course, the other thing is I don't go out every night. I'm not on holiday, I live here, so you know I tend to stay in quite a lot, unless I'm coming out to do these videos. So you have to consider that as well. Yeah, day-to-day life can be very good out here. Those of you who follow me will know I run a 2003 Kawasaki Z1000 Gen 1. It's a bit of a beast really for this island. I mean, there are a lot of things faster than it, quite a lot of things a lot slower than it. And as I said, in the UK, you know, I probably wouldn't have picked that particular bike. But out here, things are very expensive, and it was all I could afford. Right, so what I would like to say about that is, if you're going to get a car, then you know, you just have to get used to the fact you're driving on the other side of the road. That some of the laws don't seem to apply to some of the locals. So you just have to take your time, really. On a bike, you'll find the roads are extremely slippery, especially when we've had the African dust, which we had a few weeks ago. Or if there hasn't been any rain for a while and there's been a bit of a breeze, there'll be dust on the road. The roads are slippy to start with. There's not really much of a surface to them. They're pretty badly worn in a lot of places. So unless you're extremely well experienced on a bike, and unless you've ridden here before, I would probably advise anybody not to get a car if you're going to live here. Yeah, I mean, even a scooter, really, they're good fun, but it can be dangerous. And of course, I've got friends out here that haven't ridden for 25 years or more and suddenly jump on something like that and realise it's not a PSA with about 30 or 40 brake horsepower. That thing will do 165 mile an hour. It's pretty rapid. So that being said, yeah, I mean, if you're willing to take the risk and you're an experienced rider, I highly recommend it. I love riding around the island, as you can see from the videos. Right, the other thing you can do is there's Lourdes in the distance there. There's a little harbour here. These are the sort of boats I believe, I don't know, you need to check it out with your accountant, but I've been told you don't pay a luxury tax on boats this size. So when I'm a bit better off, I might actually think about getting something like that to replace the bigger boats that I've lived on in the past. You know what it's like once you've owned a boat. Anyway, you can come down as a bonus every day and swim. Now, the Hobbit does that. I only really do it, there's a joke down here in Lourdes, unless it's 40 degrees or more, you won't see the rudge in the water. And of course, if you like Lordas, then that's fine. But if you want something really quiet, this place is behind the Lithrow. It's between Lordas and Trapazaki is over there. Um, you could, at one point, I haven't done it for years, but you used to be able to walk along there. You had to go over some rocks, as you can see. But you used to be able to walk all the way along there. And of course, the sand went out further when I came 30 years ago. You could walk pretty much along without climbing over a lot of the rocks. But over the years, storms and erosion and stuff have moved the sand around. It does come back. This beach was a lot wider last year. Um, I'm interested to see what happens about that, whether the beach comes back over the summer or not. Another point, being as I've been asked about all these things, when you live here, you could get into a trap. Didn't really happen to me necessarily, where on holiday you'll be frequenting a lot of these places pretty much every day. You'll be eating out, you'll be drinking a lot. And I've noticed that a lot of expats tend to do that when they retire. Um, I don't subscribe to that. I live here, so when friends come out on holiday, I might go out once or twice with them and let them get on with it. They're on holiday, I'm not. And of course, I have this channel to run, which gives me a structure to my retirement. So yeah, that's something else you have to be careful of. Although, as I've said, sometimes it's just as cheap to eat out as it is to cook stuff in. It's something you need to look at. I mean, not certainly not on some of the more popular places, but places where the locals tend to eat can be quite cheap. So there's something else to think about. Anyway, enough of me rambling on. You've tuned in to see the views, haven't you? So lovely sunny Zakynthos over there. A little bit hazy today, but not too bad. And as I've just said, you've got Trapazaki, St Thomas, Sada, where the ferry goes out to Zakynthos. Spartia will be the next beach. And round the corner, you've got Svaronata and all that area and the airport. And there, of course, Mount Enyas. Can't quite see it from this position. And this little restaurant here, Taverna, is a Lithero. Been there as long as I can remember. It's got nice views and that. The food's pretty good. Me and the Hobbit were in there the other night. Oh, while we're on the subject of the bike and living here and all that sort of thing, um, I have noticed it's not like the UK where you go online, order something, it arrives the next day. A lot of all the properties out here don't have, there are no road names or anything. So what I did when I first moved in was tell the postman that where I lived was now going to be called, as far as I was concerned, Village Oro. So now he knows, if he sees Village Oro, he knows where to deliver the post, because I might have somebody staying for her, like the Hobbit, trying to sort her house out. She's been there, she was there a month before she went back. Um, so that's something else to consider. You can't really just go online and order something and expect it the next day. That doesn't really happen. And some things are quite difficult to get. The radiator on the bike, for instance, I had made in the UK and shipped out because I couldn't get what I wanted here. So you have to consider that. But of course, if you're at a certain top part of your life, you know, a certain age, you may not be that bothered about that. I, for one, think it's a good thing because it means that you use local shops and local people have to source the stuff for you and it keeps them employed. I think we're making big mistakes in the UK with that. It's just my personal view. The high street is dying because we all, and I was guilty of it, we all use the internet way too much. And of course, then the problem arises is we're not using our cash. So then that will disappear. And then, of course, the banks have control over you. You try and get a couple of grand out your bank account, see what happens. They won't let you do it. They'll say, oh, well, you know, you're being scammed. They come out with all sorts of excuses, and then you find out they haven't actually got the money. You have to order it. Gone are the days when you used to walk in, maybe wanting to buy a car, you'd pull a couple of grand out your account, go and pay for it. Can't do that anymore. That's not necessarily the case here. You can still go to walk into a high street branch I don't know about on the mainland, but certainly on Kefalonia, I've never had a problem with. I'm with the National Bank of Greece. I don't very often make appointments. I just turn up and somebody will see me, and I can always get cash out. So that's something else to consider. Yeah, cycling in this heat. Okay, well we're up the other end of the strip now. We just came from that direction over there. That's where the Lithrow is. And we're now up the other end of Lourdes Beach. Um, as I've said in videos before, me and my ex-wife used to go skinny dipping off that point there. A little bit too much information there, probably. Oh, another top tip is you'll see people on the island riding around with no crash helmet, and you may think that there isn't a crash helmet law here, but there is, and there always has been a crash helmet law. It's just mass disobedience won over the day. However, they're now putting quite big fines on you for not wearing them. So I generally wear mine. But yeah, there's another thing. MOTs. Well, on cars, the MOT is every 2 years, and you have to have your emissions tested every year. On bikes, you don't have the emissions tested, but you have to have a test every 2 years. Believe it or not, from some of the vehicles you see on the streets, I can understand why people think there's no MOT, but they have got an MOT system. It is quite strict to a point. Although some things, I was in the motor trade, as a lot of you know, all my working life really, and the UK was told that we were too strict in many respects, and I think we probably were. So those sort of things get left out here. You get cautioned about. For instance, the black pearl has been lowered, which should have been a fail. It's also got that black screen on the front, which I don't understand why, but that's a fail. So I take it off when I take it to the MOT, and then it passes. But things like tyres, brakes, stuff like that, it's all the same as the UK. So yeah, as I said, it would be very easy to be on holiday every day of the week down there, wouldn't it? And that's the trick, I think. If you can live a normal life and go out maybe once or twice a week, if you're retired, I suppose that's fine. Then you're all right. But I do know of people where they've gone out every night of the week, and you soon become an alcoholic. And speaking of somebody who has a problem with drink, I can sympathise there. Difficult one. German registered Porsche Carrera S. I started doing this because we get a lot of interesting vehicles on the island. Look at that. That's very nice, isn't it? You wouldn't mind that in your Christmas stocking, would you? I know somebody who'd like that. The Hobbit. It's convertible. She likes a convertible. Oh, and it's manual as well. She's not so keen on manuals. I've been trying to talk her out of automatics. There can be problems nowadays. That is a nice car. Anyway, yeah, we're right in the middle of the strip there. There's Levidis there. There's not too many umbrellas. It's not too spoilt. And the two big palms down there is Clematis. They have a bar and a substantially sized taverna. And when I first started coming here, that was all that was on the front here. Clematis, there was nothing else. There's none of these buildings here. None of that was there. These are all allotments. Yeah, how times change. Okay, so we just popped into bar 7, see Makis, and collect a. They put the coffee beans in that they fill the coffee machines with. Made of stainless, from what I can see. Probably not a fantastic grade of stainless, but even so. And Makis tells me they go in the bin. I says, "Oh, don't do that. I'm going to make a coffee table out of it. And if that works, I might make a few." There's all manner of things you could do with that, isn't there? Up lighting, all sorts. Anyway, he's given me one. I'm going to go and have a play with it. And he said I can have another one whenever I want. He throws them away every week. Throws them away. I mean, what's the trouble with this world today? While we're on the subject of living out here, there are a few things that you might want to consider. If you're here for more than 180 days and you can have residency or a 5-year biometric residency card, you have to be here for longer than that to keep your residency. Then you're apparently, according to black and white law, you're tax resident in this country. So you have to pay any income you've got worldwide has to be paid on tax on here. So that's something to consider. UK pensions, my accountant reckons that the basic state pension would be, you wouldn't have to pay tax on that. But of course, if you're earning on top of that, then yeah, you have to declare it and you have to pay it. Cars, there's a luxury tax on cars. So if it's 1600cc or over, from what I've found out, then you pay about 1500 quid a year on top of your circulation tax, which is their road tax here. And the road tax will be quite expensive if it's a car over 1.1 litre. Motorbikes, like the Black Pearl, which you can see in the distance there, well, they're exempt from luxury tax. Boats, that's another one. Something like Sovereign Bay, which was over 12 metres long. So that's ridiculous. I wasn't going to pay that. So apparently, small boats. You see a lot of these small boats, little canopies. I think you can hire them. They are not. They haven't got luxury tax on them. And apparently, if it's under 30 horsepower, then you don't need a license. Although I would advise anybody to get one of those. So that being said, yeah, it's a great place to live. Cost of living, well, pretty similar to the UK really. There are quite a lot of things that are a lot cheaper, and I will say that the quality of the food is much better here than it is in the UK. It's just how it is. Now, as a lot of you know, the Hobbit is trying to get her golden visa, so she's buying a property out here. So word of warning there, some of you may not know that the golden visa has now gone up to 800,000 euros. On this island, it was 250,000 euros, and they were talking about putting it up to 400,000 euros, but it's now going to be 800,000, unless you can get a deposit in on a property by August, and then pay the full amount and get all the contracts signed and dealt with by December, I think it is, although the Hobbit might correct me on that. Then you can go in for the 250,000. So the Hobbit's in that bracket between the 250 and the 400. So she's going to be okay so long as she gets a deposit in by August. She's found a property. We went looking all over the place round by where I live. She likes the Caravados and Lourdes area. Anyway, she's found something around that area and is quite happy about that. So we're hoping it all goes through. Now, she was advised to go for all sorts of other visas. There's a new one out which wasn't appropriate. She was also told that she could buy a commercial property, which you can. You still can do that a lot cheaper. But if you want a specific property, which is what the Hobbit wanted, then you're stuck really, aren't you? You've got no choice but to try and go with the law. And then there was the digital nomad visa, which we're still thinking about if the property falls through. But there's no guarantee that they'll renew that when it comes to term. And there's talk that you could probably get residency off one of those. There's no guarantee with that either, I'm afraid. Things are tightening up in Greece, and things change on a daily basis. So the information I'm giving you now might be different tomorrow. The other thing is there's a FIP visa, but that's for retired people really on a pension. You have to prove you've got a certain amount of money coming in. And again, you have to renew that. There's no guarantee they'll do that. So my advice really would be, would you want to get a place out here, pay for furniture? It's quite expensive doing what I've done. On the risk that they won't renew your residency. I mean, there's no guarantee they're going to renew my biometric. I've done everything by the book, so I'm hoping they will, but you know, no guarantees. So yeah, it's something to consider. It's not as easy as it once was. You can't just move into somewhere from Europe if you're a UK citizen. It's not that easy anymore. So I'm not a legal eagle. No, neither is the Hobbit, as we said before. So if you go onto a site called British in Greece on Facebook, There's a woman on there, Julia, who's absolutely fantastic. She's pretty clued up, some sort of legal eagle, I think she is. If you go on there, they've got all the links to all the government sites, UK and Greece. And there's lots of people on there like myself that can explain what their story's been about and how that goes. So yeah, it's not as easy as it was. It's not impossible, but not as easy, and it can be quite expensive. You've got to be very careful. At the moment, there's big discussions going on about whether you can buy a car if you're not resident. Black and white, legally, I've looked at this, you can't. Unless you've got a residency permit of some kind, you can't buy a car. I mean, you could, but it wouldn't be legal. Probably wouldn't belong to you either. And you're signing lots of things. That's the other thing to consider when you move here. If you don't read Greek, you have to sign loads of documents on a daily basis when you're doing anything. And I've got a translator on my phone, but you don't want to be doing that. I mean, when I was in the bank getting my new bank card, I signed 12 bits of paper I didn't quite understand. Something else you have to consider is you know, I'm quite lucky in the fact that I've got some very close Greek friends who speak very good English. So if there's a major problem, I can ask them. My landlady is also very helpful, speaks very good English and can write in English. So anything to do with the house is not a problem. She sorts that out for me. And in fact, if you're watching, hello, the house is fantastic. I love it there, and I hope you're having a great day. So anyway, yeah, Myrtos Beach. What a great day to be alive. Yeah, and those t-shirts will be coming soon. I'm just waiting for the Hobbit to finish off what she's doing with them. I might see where that road goes actually in a bit. So without further ado, it'd be rude not to, wouldn't it? Should we go down there, see what's going on? I think we will. Yeah, well, might have bitten off more than I can chew here. Me and the Black Pearl have come down this track here to see where it went. There's Myrtos Beach and the viewing tower and the road. As you can see, pretty steep, and I just felt some spots of rain. So, as you can see, once I'd started the journey down, there was no backing out of it, so I'm hoping that we can get back up. Might have to take a run at it. Let's see if this 65-year-old bloke still has what it takes. Doesn't look so steep, but I might as well be rock crawling. So just for your information, those of you who are a bit nervous about coming here, about finding the place, that's the crossroads beyond that gold tour bus there. You turn right for the bridge that's closed. Left for Mia, and straight on will take you back to Argostoli. So no doubt you'll have come that way. Where this car's coming out now, with this young lady driving, will take you to Myrtos Beach. So let's have a look. As you can see, I've said this before, the road isn't that bad. It's not even that narrow at this point. Just select a low gear so you don't have to use the brakes all the time, as I've said before, and toddle down the hill. There's no rush. Cigar. Most of you will be here for more than a week, won't you? So, you know, you're on holiday. That always amazes me. When I lived on a boat, some, you know, 25 years, or more than that actually, if you count the years in my early 20s when I lived on a narrowboat. But anyway, people always rush around, don't they? I mean, why buy millions of pounds for the boat in some cases to rush from one place to another? I mean, Sovereign Bay was capable of 25 knots, and I don't think I ever went above 10 or 12. One, because it saved fuel, and two, because I could go close into the shore and see the sights. Now, as you can see, I'm filming all this road for you. As you can see, this people are walking up, fair play to them. They look quite young though, don't they? As you can see, it's quite steep, so just take your time. You won't have to use the brakes as much if you're in a low gear, and everybody will be happy. So look at these views. Like I said before, we're all debating the fact that why is it so quiet? We're in June now, and it's more like early May, people-wise. There are people that would disagree with that, but I'm going on experience of being here 30 years, and some of my friends who own businesses will tell you it's been quite quiet this season. And the bucket will tell you, because she watches all these things, that the flights there aren't as many flights as there had been in other years. The ones there are available apparently have been quite expensive. I don't know what to advise you on that. I'm out of that little group now. But if you can brave this trip, as you can see, the views are big pothole there. Spectacular. Great day to be alive. What a life I've got, eh? It took a while getting there, but yeah, riding around the island on a Z1000 Kawasaki called Nikki, the Black Pearl. I don't think in my world it ever gets any better than this. I never thought I'd ever be doing this. And of course, the fact that I can come out and film the island as much as I do is down to my supporters, you guys. Even if you've just subscribed, you know, it all helps. And the coffee page is an enormous help these days. I've now got people that are regular on there, and of course that helps me budget for petrol. And I mean, the Black Pearl will need a new back tyre for the MOT and new front brakes. It all costs money, really. So without you guys, I'd be struggling. So anyway, here we are down at the beach. Let's have a look. Oh, here we are then, Myrtos Beach. We managed to get back up the road, as you just said. Oh, I do take the Black Pearl, poor old thing. I take it to some very inappropriate places. I mean, look at that. Look where she is now. But you see, hey, here's a good tale. Many years ago, in 1997, as I've said before on this channel, I brought my bar hopper over here, my Harley Davidson. I'll put a picture of it into the video. So yeah, I brought that bike over here in 1997, and the roads weren't as good as what the Black Pearl's on now. I've just noticed. Oh dear, oh dear. How's that got in there? Yeah, nice bit of driftwood. I think I might take that home as a souvenir. Anyway, yeah, as I digress. As I was saying, 1997, I brought my Harley Davidson bar hopper that I'd built all the way from the UK over here. And the roads weren't as good as that. So I'm afraid, Nikki, you've got a lot to live up. But she's doing a sterling job. I mean, some of the roads I've took her on are absolutely appalling. To these little secret beaches that I show you. The chapel that I did last week is a good example of that. So yeah, this is Myrtos Beach, and I have some memories of this. It can get quite dangerous when there's an onshore breeze. The swell is quite high. It's more of a surf. In fact, I nearly got drowned, deaded, murdered, with the wife laughing at me. We were up there. That's another story. My brother-in-law said to me, oh, "You'll be fine. Count the waves," because he used to surf. So I listened to what he'd got to say. Count the waves. You can work out the duration of them. They'll either come in threes or fours, and then you can dive through the last one, swim out, and do the same when you come back. Wait till there's a lull. Oh well, 25 years of living on a boat, I can tell you that's not how it works. And I got wiped out and nearly drowned. But anyway, I'm now going to walk along and show you the other end of the beach that I don't think I've ever filmed. There's a cave up here which is quite spectacular, so we'll go and have a look at that. So at the other end of the beach now, and I'll show you the cave. I'll try not to film the people that are in it, give them a bit of privacy. Anyway, so there you go, the famous cave at Myrtos, and you can swim into it, hang out on that rock there, swim back round here. What a fantastic place. Look at that yacht out there. Got what they call a deck saloon. That's my sort of yacht. If I was going to have a yacht, that's the sort of thing I'd probably have. But as you know, if you watch the channel a lot, I can't be doing with going zigzagging everywhere. I like to just turn the engine on and head for home. So, before my back gives out, because I've walked quite a long way, I'm having a good day today with it, but I don't want to mess it up, so I'm going to go and find somewhere to sit down. And then we'll report on whether the taverna's open. I don't think it is. Listen to how quiet that is. I mean, really, you know. No music, no brollies, just people chilling out in the sunshine on a beautiful beach. Bit pebbly, but you know, I do believe, from what memory, I think there's some sandy bits further up. It's not all pebbles. But of course, if you're hot and you want somewhere to chill out in the cool, that cave is fantastic for that. Couple of safety things, disclaimers. As the Hobbit will tell you, always wear a hat when you're out in the sun. Never go out in the midday sun because it's late afternoon now. And always take bottled water wherever you go. Something I keep forgetting, but the bucket brought me if you look at the back of the Black Pearl, I've got a JCB cool bag. So I freeze a bottle of water, a big one, and put a couple of smaller ones in, and they stay very nice to drink on a hot day and keep you hydrated. The Hobbit disregarded some of this and got a horrendous headache one afternoon. We were a bit worried about her, but yeah, I don't think we should do that again. Sort of thing you only do once. And it was an accident. She was, bless her, it was a further walk than she thought it was going to be. And the other thing is that cave's all very nice, but it has got a little warning sign. Look, falling rocks. We do get earthquakes here. So really, the safest part of the beach to be in would be where the brollies are. Yeah, this is a fantastic place to be. Myrtos Bay, great place. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There you go. Just to confirm, it's closed. The taverna isn't open. It doesn't look like it's going to be open this season either. What a shame. Anyway, onward and upward. Right, there you go. Myrtos Bay. And yeah, I very nearly ended up having to call the services out to pull the bike back up the hill. And as I said at the beginning of the video, that ain't clever in this heat to be in that sort of a situation. So please, if you're coming out on holiday, just remember it is very hot out here at the moment. Make sure you've got some water with you at all times, and make sure you wear appropriate clothing. And yeah, lecture over really. We all enjoy your company, but just be safe, guys. So yeah, this week's video done and dusted. Thanks for watching. For those of you who visited the Coffee and PayPal page, as I said before, time and time again, thank you ever so much. You help make these videos. And a little shout out to my mate, Andy Incanine. You'll see him on my comments occasionally. Really nice to meet up with you, bro. And thanks for the shirts. They're going to come in very handy. And I hope you weren't in too much trouble. The day just drifted by. Ian Redmond will tell you all about that. Baldy-Locks. Yeah, we nearly got into trouble once by chatting away. Nice to see you. And yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. And I'll see you lot all next week. Oh, and remember, dreams do come true. True story.